to go into fit.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
The new Edion expressed excitement as they danced and rejoiced before the Esama of Benin, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawari Benedion, who also joined in the dance. As visiting and paying of homage to various homes of senior elders continued, the initiates spent 7 days performing diverse kinds of rites as required by tradition. They were furnished with rules and regulations regarding their new office as Edion.
That I grew up in this community to the point that they have now also chosen me as an elder in this community. It's a thing of great joy. All thanks to the Esama of Benin, my people, my family, everybody, all Okada community for this great honor. I am very, very grateful.
Well, this is my brother. I'll call him my uncle because he grew up with my father. I'm so proud of him because we are doing the same rituals as the Edions of the Okada. It is our duty for us to make this place a greater place, for outsiders to come and see the goodness of God in Okada. And I'm proud of every one of us here. So shall it be to each and every one of us in Jesus' name.
Obalazi Madio Marawe Mari Orisama Denena, Limado Pomisama, Limado Beken Sama, Emma Dio Warena, Esama Magbeken, Osaba, Obuya Bitoneva, no get Tony Maga, not Yami Magame, Manido Beken, Denena, Emma Yafe, Emma Ato, Emma Agmo, Aropai Uduri, Emma Diawagene, all the Tiagoyano Emi Magame, we need just to know me off.
In this summer, in our father's house, in respect of our initiation to elders at young level, as tradition demands, we are here today to come and so.
It's another wonderful time on your television on our program African Discourse on Independent TV, and a very good afternoon to you. Happy New Year is what we're still saying here, and of course the year has since begun. Today is the 5th day of the month of January 2026, so we've got about 5 whole days into the brand new year. So today's edition is going to be the very first edition of the program African Discourse. So for the next 52 weeks or thereabouts, we're going to be having the program running every Monday at about this time. Well, if you are an ardent viewer of this program every Monday afternoon at about this time, of course you know that we look at issues on the continent of Africa, most especially political issues, economic issues, and of course how best we can reposition the continent in the sphere of things. My name is Evan Sunukugi. Well, today on the program African Discourse, we're going to be looking at political events in 2025, you know, the coup, the demonstrations, the coups now, not even one, the coups, the protest, the demonstrations, and of course all that, you know, happened, even to the extent that we had some coups that were attempted and some failed. And the elections too, we saw elections that brought some of very old presidents into governance in Africa. Take, for example, Paul Biya, whereby he won the election in Cameroon. So that's what we're going to be talking about basically today on the show. The politics of 2025 in Africa, and asking the big question of whether the one of 2026 is going to be different. Well, let's get to meet our guests this afternoon. Please join me in to welcome Mr. Tony Alele. Now, Tony Alele, I want to say thank you so much. I know the effort you took to be on this program this afternoon. Mr. Tony Alele, good afternoon and Happy New Year to you.
Evans, good afternoon, Happy New Year. And the viewers at home, I wish you all a very, very good and happy New Year.
No. Okay. All right. So like what we said, that we're going to be looking at the politics of 2025 in Africa and trying to answer the question, or even ask the question, whether the one of 2026 is going to be different. Well, as you all know, we saw some of the coup. Take, for example, the one that happened in Guinea-Bissau, whereby we understand that a military coup overthrew President Umaru Sissoco Embalo and suspending the electoral process and sealing election results. Then also we also saw the one that happened in Madagascar, whereby President Andry Rajoelina was ousted by an elite army unit with Colonel Michael Randradranirina installed as a leader. Then also, there was also another that happened in Benin Republic, and it was an attempted coup, and it was thwarted with the Nigerian support playing a key role in stabilizing the situation. Of course, that was the coup whereby we saw that our own president was, there. Former president was there, and of course, how Nigeria came in to make sure that that coup did not take place. Then also talk about elections now. We have elections in Gabon, whereby General Brice Ologui Nguema, who overthrew the Bongo dynasty, won the presidency with 95% of the votes. Then also we also have the one that happened in Gabon. And we also have so many others. So we're going to be taking them one after the other as the program progresses. Now, Tony Alile, like what we're asked on, the political trajectory in 2025 on the continent of Africa, developments, coups, the elections, and of course the protests and all that. Now, do you think they are in any way going to have a bearing with the political realization in 2026 in Africa?
Well, thank you very much. Your question has a direct answer. Direct in the sense that the difference between 2025 and 2026 is just that 1 second at 12 midnight. So I can say what happened last week, and I'll be very correct to say last week without necessarily saying last year. Africa is Africa no matter the year, the time, and the day. What happened in 2025 can never be different from what we are going to expect in 2026. You did mention some illegal change of government in some part of Africa, Madagascar, Guinea-Bissau, Gabon, and the most recent one in Benin Republic, thanks to the swift reaction from the Nigerian government, and that coup was thwarted. And he also talked about the presidential election in some part of Africa, the Pobia case in Cameroon, and so on and so forth. I'm not expecting anything different because you cannot continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. That now brings us to 2026. That is going to be a very crucial political year, especially for this part of the continent, Nigeria, to be specific. Nigerian presidential election comes up in 2027, but preparatory to that commences in 2026. As a matter of fact, we are just less than a week into 2026, and the activities are already, gearing up. Know that this 2026, all the major political parties will be engaging in their congresses. That is, electing people to run the affairs of the party from the world level to the national. And this same 2026, will be the primary election to all elected positions, for all the political parties. So we are going to expect some interesting drama, within this period. As it stands right now, I can say there are two major political parties in Nigeria at the moment. And these two political parties, I can tell you for free that every elected position will have a minimum of 5 to 10 aspirants jostling for that single position. So in a contestation that involves more than two persons, you are going to expect a lot of fallout. So anyway, let us not dwell too much in the Nigerian politics because this is an entire African program. So there are some elections also coming up in a few African countries in this 2026. I can't put my hands on them right now because you mentioned at the beginning of the program the effort I put into to be able to join you guys. I actually have to get off the highway because I'm coming from a distance to look for any guest house or rest house to sit in their lobby to be able to do this program. Thanks to the wonderful work that our work minister is doing on the in all the roads. If the road was so good, I bet I would have been able to make it to your studio. Anyway, Nigeria is going to experience a very turbulent political circle in this 2026, and I'm hoping that whoever the parties, the various party picks as they are, for the upcoming election, especially the national, national elections, which is the presidency, the Senate, and the rep, before we come down to the state's election, governor and House of Assembly. Whoever the candidates will be in each of those of this political party, I just pray they are people that will have the interest of Nigerians at heart, not exactly what we are experiencing in the hands of the ruling party at the moment.
Expository response to our very first question. But again, I also need to let you know that Nigeria, as it stands, has more than 2 political parties. I mean, I heard you clearly when you said that Nigeria, as it stands now, has only 2 political parties. That's not true. Away from that now, elections and political transitions, during the year 2020. Yeah, Tony. Okay. All right. So,
I said Nigeria has 2 major political parties. I didn't say Nigeria have only 2 political parties. Nigeria has over 20-something or 25 registered political parties. But as it stands today, it is the ruling party, which is the All Progressive Congress, and the other party, African Democratic Congress. Those are the only 2 political parties that people will really be interested. Serious-minded people will be interested in seeking their nomination to go into any election. That is why I said 2 major political parties. I didn't say 2 parties. PDP, of course, is still there, though fragmented. Labour Party is having about 5-6 different factions. So I'm not going to consider all those people because I'm a serious-minded person. If I'm contesting an election at this particular time, don't expect me to go to any party that will give me a ticket that is worth less than Zimbabwe dollar, as one of our past senators did mention at the time. So that is why I zeroed in on those 2 political parties, APC and ADC.
All right, for us in the media, for the purpose of equity and fairness, all political parties are major. So we don't say some are more major than others.
But as a practicing politician who's on the field, that understands what we mean by major and a serious party, I think I'm within my rights to say that those are the 2 parties that will be attractive to any serious contender to any of the elected positions in this coming election in Nigeria.
Okay. Anyway, away from that now, like a while ago, we're trying to look at some other issues that, happened in the year 2025. And that was when we were trying to look at the elections and political transitions. We saw the one that happened in Gabon, that the General Brice Oligui Nguema overthrew the Bongo dynasty and won the presidency with 95% of the vote. Then we also saw the one that happened in Guinea, whereby General Mamadi Douamba Boaya claimed political legitimacy through a controversial presidential election. That was the one that happened in Guinea-Bissau. I mean, the one that took the whole world by surprise, even up to the extent that our own president, former President Goodluck Jonathan was set to go through some issues before he eventually came back home. Yeah, then we also saw the one that happened in Tanzania. The President Samali Suluhu Hassan secured an overwhelming 98% of the vote. Then Cameroon was also there, whereby veteran President Paul Biya secured the 8th consecutive term and triggering a protest in Cameroon. Well, for Nigeria, we saw the political landscape in Nigeria. There was a mass defection of the ruling All Progressives Congress and weakened by opposition parties. In other words, it was said that some parties defected, some members of some parties defected to the All Progressives Congress, and also some members of the All Progressives Congress defected to other parties like the ADC and all that. All these, things that happened in the year 2025. Now, the question we're asking, let's bet on Nigeria in the first place, because we were a while talking about that a while ago. Now, this defection and all that, 2026 may not be an election year in Nigeria, but is more or less like a prelude to next year, which is 2027. Now, do you think that all this defection is going to have a kind of a reasonable effect, into next year's election in Nigeria?
Yes, thank you very much, Evans, for this question. But let me quickly say something about the election in Guinea-Bissau. You all heard our former president, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, when he came back, during his press briefing, how he, narrated the sequence of events that led to that phantom military coup. There has never been anywhere in the world where the president or the head of state that is removed will be the one announcing or, telling the world about the military coup in his country. So we call that phantom coup, and I think that was, Nigerian parlance to say a RNG coup. Anyway, let's come to Nigeria. Like like you rightly said, 2026, like I said earlier, is the prelude to what to come in 2027. All the congresses, all the primaries, for the political parties are all, going to take place in this 2026 before the 2027 general election. All the makes and breaks will all happen in 2026. Then you talked about the avalanche of defection into the various political parties by politicians. Yeah, it's expected. Is since we have thrown away the moral part of of our political life in Nigeria, it is no longer morally wrong for people to to change from one political party to the other. Since it's not constitutional, or rather against the constitution for you to do that. What we are seeing right now, like the movement into the ruling party, I will not say categorically that people are moving in there, or rather the persons, I mean the politicians moving into the party right now are doing that, based on ideology or the progress, or rather the effect of the ruling party in the citizens positively. Some of these persons we all know are facing the anti-graft, some are facing EFCC, some are facing ICPC. And I don't want to dwell on speculation because I don't have facts on that. But as a politician that noses around on things that happens in my party and other party, I can tell you most of those persons moving into, it's just a particular group of persons, the governors. Let me be specific. It's the governors that are moving into the, to the ruling party right now. The core politicians, the people that make things happen, they are all standing behind. Nobody, tell me any person of note that has moved into the into the APC other than the governor. When you want to talk about genuine movement from one political party to the other, you talk about the crops and caliber of people that are moving into the African Democratic Congress. Recently, the great Peter Obi joined on the 31st of December, joined the ADC. And since his movement into the political party, you can see the tsunami all over the country, the way people are, trending, the way people are taking numbers to join the ADC. What does that tell you? That tells you of a character of an individual. It tells you about, someone that people genuinely believes in. And when such people moves from one political party to the other, it's ordinarily fair that that is the direction. But I am not against anybody moving from any party to the other. But again, I can also tell you for free that governors does not win election. Because you are a sitting governor and you belong to one particular party does not guarantee that your party is going to win election. A good the test case is, let's take Edo State, for instance. The last presidential election, there was a sitting governor in Edo State who belongs to a political party. As a matter of fact, his party came second or third in that election. So it is not about the governor or the ruling party in the state that determine the voting pattern of voters when the election comes in. So I am not bothered about that, and I'm sure Nigerians are not even looking at that. What Nigerians are looking at are the characters of persons that are moving from these parties to the other. And you can excuse the case of Peter Obi, for instance, who has come to find himself in an entangled political party, one belonging to the and the other, the gentleman from Lagos who came from nowhere. So the avalanche of defection from one political party to the other is not going to really take much the direction of the voters when the election comes in 2027. It is the candidate that the party, the various political party are putting forward for any of these elective positions that is going to determine the direction of the voters. I'll quickly say this before we move into the other on that topic. This coming election, in 2006, 26, and 2027 in Nigeria is really going to be an election of how do you feel today compared to yesterday. Are you better off today with this present administration than you were before now? Those are the things that people are going to look at. People are going to look at how the numbers of bags that they can bring from the market with what they make as their salary. They're going to look at the cost of commodities. They're going to look at the cost of transportation. They're going to look at the cost of healthcare, the roads that we ply, and all of these things. So it's not really about how many people that moves into your party or moves out of your party that will determine the direction of voters. It is the situation of the economy and what is on my food plate for me and my family. That is what is going to determine the direction, not moving. Everybody can move to one political party and still lose in the general election.
That you are not concerned about something, because you talked about the governors, that the defection of the governors is somehow infinitesimal. But we are looking at a situation whereby these state governors are they are the political leaders of their states, most especially in their political parties. Now, you also talked about those states. Now, are you also concerned about the waning influence of the party, the center, which is the All Progressives Congress, as it stands now? Now, away from that also, away from that, because we're looking at happenings. Yeah, Tony. Tony, I'm not done. I'm not done with my question, Tony.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, Tony. All right, so that's one question. Then the other one, we've also seen just a few days ago, we saw the Labour Party presidential candidates for the last presidential election, the campaign into the ADC. Now, little wonder, what do you think is going to be what is he getting there? I mean, just only a few hours ago, we saw the Obedient movement, giving a stern warning that if he's not given the presidential tickets in that party, then of course they are not going to support him in any way. Do you think the choice that Obi has made, as it were now, is the right choice at this moment?
Well, thank you again for that very wonderful question. Let me say this quickly. Obedient movement of Peter Obi's supporter cannot, I repeat, they cannot stampede or blackmail any political party to submitting any elective ticket to Peter Obi because he joins joins the ADC. ADC as a political party, we all know, has been it's not a new party. I don't want people to call it new party. ADC has been existing for a very long time. Yes, they may not have had the caliber of people that have come to join the party as it is right now. Peter Obi coming in to join ADC is a great development, it's a welcome development, it's a big booster. But that does not mean that as he comes in, ADC should gift him their whatever ticket. I don't know what position he's going to contest for. The last time he went for the presidency, I don't know if he's still going for the presidency this time, although he did mention that he's going to contest an election. It is not an automatic ticket. Who knows? That I'm talking to you, who knows if I am interested in contesting, for the position of the president of this country. So nobody has the right to come into any political party with the mindset that the position has been prepared for you. There are people there before he came. The former governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amechi, is there. Our father, Atiku Abubakar, is there. His Excellency El-Rufai is there. And so many other great presidents. I've just been told by, the top party hierarchy that discussion is already at the closing stage with Senator Kwankwanso from Kano State, joining the party. So with the caliber of all these people that have tested the presidential election before in one political party, it would not be fair to say that if you don't give me the ticket, that means they are not ready. If Nigeria is really, or rather, if the opposition are really true to themselves, look at the votes that each of them got in the last election. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar got almost 7 million votes, about 6.9 million votes. Peter Obi got about 6.6 million. And Kwankwaso got about 1.7 million. Put all this together, we are looking at almost 14 million compared to about 8 million votes that the present president got. So
Okay.
if if they want to split and share their vote once again, they can go to the various political party and go and get their small votes that will not count, that will not be of any significance.
All right,
if
then.
they are true to themselves
Yeah.
to say that it's about time to change this government, they should all come together and go to an open primary. Whoever emerges will be the candidate of the party.
All right, beautiful. The program is still African Discourse on independent television, and we are looking at the politics of 2025 in Africa, and also trying to answer the question whether it's going to have any kind of influence into the politics of 2026 in Africa. We quickly take a short break now. When we return, we're going to look at some trends and some challenges that happen in African politics in the year 2025. We'll be right back.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain, which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
ITV, certainly the best.
Omonoba Nedu Ukwakolopolo Ewai II, Oba of Benin, stepped out majestically with loud crowd to perform the Soto rites of his late mother, Queen Mother Ioba Omoni Ikoyeme, Ioba Ewai II, who departed this world 49 years ago. Isoton, is a traditional rite of the procession in memory of the departed person's spirit in Benin Kingdom. It is usually heralded by public display of the departed person's influence during their sojourn on earth. The display of a human effigy symbolizing the departed royal matriarch was preceded by the Oba of Benin, who led the procession from his palace to the Immortal Shrine at King Square in Benin City, where he offered prayers for the repose of the soul of the Queen Mother, Ioba Ewai II.
All right, thank you one more time. Still on the program African Discourse on independent television, and we are looking at the politics of 2025 and asking the big question whether the one of 2026 is going to be different. And our guest this afternoon is Mr. Tony Alile, who is joining us virtually all the way from Ogunuba, somewhere in Edo State. Mr. Tony, thank you one more time for joining us. Now, we have talked about the elections that took place in 2025 in Africa. Then we also mentioned the coups. Then we've seen a political trajectory, talking about political defections, and we were talking about the one that particularly happened in Nigeria, whereby lots of members of opposition parties in Nigeria left to their parties and joined the All Progressives Congress. That's the ruling party in Nigeria. Then also members of the All Progressives Congress also left and joined other political party. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned.
Of Nation is proudly supported by E.J. Agbonaima, former member, House of Representatives, Federal Commissioner, Code of Conduct Bureau, Honorable Humphrey Teddy Adewumi, APC Chairmanship Aspirant, Akoko Edo Local Government Council.
The program still on your television, the African Discourse, and we are looking at happenings in Africa in the year 2025. Now, Tony Alile, we were talking about the challenges and some of the trends that we went through. For the first time, we saw some nations in West Africa breaking out of the ECOWAS bloc and forming their own Sahel region. Take, for example, we had a country like Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger Republic, for the very first time leaving the ECOWAS and forming their own bloc, the Sahel region bloc. Now, we also saw the economic hardship that some countries went through that manifested in some protests and demonstrations. Take, for example, the one that happened in Kenya. Then also, we also saw the one that happened in Morocco. I mean, the one that gave rise to the AFCON that is going on as it stands now. Youths in Morocco protested, all that with the mindset that the government of the day in Morocco was not doing the needful and preparing for the AFCON Nations Cup and all that. Now, Tony Alile, please help us to explore, what do you think is going to be the implication of all this, for Africa in this year, 2026?
Well, thank you very much once again. The 2026 is going to be very busy for African countries, going into their various elections. Like in this January alone, Uganda is having their general election on January 15, with Yoweri Museveni going in for his seventh term, marking 40 years since he first took power. And he's already 81 years. And you remember he removed the presidential term limit in 2005 and age limit in 2017. So you can see the problem that that 81-year-old man is going to cause in this coming election, because he has in his possession all the tools and the agencies of the government. Then in the March, I think March 22nd or thereabout, the Republic of Congo to be going into their own presidential election, with President Denis Sassou Nguesso still expected to claim that victory easily. Then if you take it further down a little bit to our backyard here, in somewhere around April, the Benin Republic will be also going in for their presidential election, followed immediately by Libya. So Djibouti is also there, having his election this year, Cape Verde and all sorts of them. What democracy to me is, I would have considered democracy to be the best form of government. But to ask that direct question, is that the kind of government that is suitable for we Africans, considering the fact that we don't believe in any institution? We believe in the man that is there. The man that is there is Lord. Whatever he says is Lord. That is what is represented in all the African countries. Look at the case of the President Museveni of Uganda that I mentioned earlier. A man that is already 81 years, who has already been there for 7 terms, totaling 40 years in power. What are you still looking for? At that age, I can't think of anything comprehensive that that man can come up with, when the children of now, let me tell you something. My own telephone, what my children can do with it, my brother, I don't even know that such things exist on telephone. And you can now see how a 81-year-old man cannot transfer from the aged analog system that is used to, to the modern technology that the world is being ruled by. So these are the greed and the craziness of Africa. That is why I keep questioning that if democracy has been practiced in other developed part of the world, is what is suitable for we Africa. Maybe we've not been able to discover our talent, discover the government that is suitable for us. Because as far as I'm concerned, this is not democracy that is being practiced in Africa. A situation where if you are the head of state, you control the money, you control the military, you control the police, you control the electoral body, your victory is almost as good as being guaranteed. Once again, thanks to President Donald Trump of the United States, that is, wielding the big stick to all African countries that don't want to, put their hearts together. I'm believing so much that with the interest, with the sudden interest that the American has developed in Nigeria of today, maybe that will guarantee us a free and fair, or something close to being called free and fair election in 2027. A great departure from what we have seen in this country over time, without necessarily laying any aspersion at any individual. But let me quickly correct something that you mentioned before you went on break earlier. With the power of governors. If you take Edo State, for instance, and look at the voting pattern of this state from the past 12 years, the voting pattern has always been determined by the situation at the national. Is the president there doing very well? Is the policy of the president favorable to us here? That has always been the voting pattern in all our national elections. So the idea of, because a governor moved from one party to the ruling party, that is an automatic guarantee that any election conducted in that state is going to be to the favor of that party, my brother, I would disagree with you and anybody that propagate that. It has never been. And we are just praying and hoping that this coming election cycle in Nigeria, the vote will count. I am not predicting, I am not saying this is the party that will win or this is the candidate, because we don't even know who these candidates are going to be anyway. But I am saying that the coming election is going to be between the present economic situation and the Nigerian voters. So it's not about if the ruling party like, let them start clapping to say they have 36 over 36 governor plus FCT.
Anyway, today,
my brother, that is
yeah.
not going to guarantee any victory.
Okay, away from that now, let's talk about what happened. I mean, we have nations under the umbrella of the Sahel region. I mean, before 2025, these nations were members of the ECOWAS. They came up as a result of the military coup junta that happened in these nations, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and all that. Now, what do you think is going to happen in 2026? Are we going to maybe have more military coups? Do we see that coming?
No. I will not pray for any military coup, because the worst civilian administration is always better than the best military administration, any day, any time. I am not an advocate of dictatorship or totalitarianism in any form in government. I always believe in democracy, where the majority always have their way. I would not say that there will be more military coup in Africa or not. But again, there is a limit you can push the people to before they start reacting. Sometimes reaction against bad government is always spontaneous. You don't discuss it, you don't talk about it. People just react based on how they feel. But that still does not in any way give justification to any military incursion. The situation in the Sahel, that is the Niger Republic, Burkina Faso, Mali, and the other one, they were able to find a common ground, to form an alliance, and that common ground is the is the uniform that they are now wearing, and the toga that they are now known for, head of state that were not brought in through democratic process. So they were able to find a common ground, and they've been able to bond together. Yes, it's natural for the I am trying to be very careful not to give them names. They are renegades. They dismantle a democratic process and install themselves as ruling authorities. So they ordinarily can no longer fit. I will not envisage a situation where President Tinubu will be seated in ECOWAS meeting and having a Tuareg on his military attire, or the head of state of Niger and Mali seated together. The era of when military government were encouraged or welcomed in African continent, especially in our part of the Africa, West Africa, is long gone. It's no longer fashionable. So I am not in support of it. I will not call for it, and I will not predict that it will happen. But if a government does not want such things to happen, they still have time to sit tight and do the right thing. What is really this right thing? What are the things the people are asking for? People don't ask for too much. If the basic municipal services can be delivered to the people, our people are very strong. We fend for ourselves. Look at the situation we are at today. We provide our own water. We provide our own electricity. We provide our own security. These are the things that people are yearning for. When the government can provide these basic things to their citizenry, I don't think there will be any call for any change of government, especially through undemocratic form like the military coup. So I can say categorically that the present crop of leadership in Africa, I've seen what happens in these countries, that the military coups are taking place here and there, to sit up and start listening to the yearnings of the people. Let them feel what the people are feeling. Nigeria, for instance, the day the present administration came to board was the day the suffering was heaped on all of us. by removing that subsidy without proper cushioning effect for the citizen.
Tony,
and that trickles down.
Yeah.
It trickles down to cost of to the high cost of transportation, to the high cost of goods in the market.
All right, so Tony, let's quickly, because of time factor now, we'll just, so that we don't jump the issues now, we'll just quickly ask one question and we'll just wrap it up. Now, because there's no way we can talk about politics in Africa in the year 2025 without making recourse to the military airstrikes in Nigeria. Now, attention seems to have shifted. Just only a few days ago, we saw Donald Trump and his military, hardwares or softwares, if you like now, in Caracas. That's the capital of Venezuela, bombing Maduro, in Caracas. Now, do we intend or do we want to see more of those kind of military interventions from the U.S. in Africa in this year 2026?
No. What the American government did? Don't forget that Venezuela is part of the Western Hemisphere.
I know. Just trying to buttress the situation.
So it's part of the Americans, which technically are under the supervision of the United States of America. All those countries in South America, Caribbean, Northern, all of them, America is their father. They overlook that. But to say that anybody should pray for such thing to happen to their country, I would say that is not fair. But again, if a government is subjecting their citizen to excruciating hardship, complete the neglect of their citizens, I think America, as one of the soldiers of the world, can interfere, not through the manner that they bonded Maduro from Venezuela to America to stand trial. That is their own internal problem. If you remember, this whole thing started in Obama's time when they indicted Maduro. When Biden came, they had $50 million bounty on his head. And every president does their things differently. Donald Trump is a bit different from those that wants to go through, the civil way. And he went in there, used his might, and brought him in. I am not expecting such to happen in Nigeria, but what I can ask Donald Trump, if he can hear me today, is he should not stop at just bombing the terrorist part in Sokoto. He should help us to flush them out of this country and bring to book all the terrorist sponsors has been speculated in Nigeria. There are so many of them. I don't know them. If I know them, I'll call their names right now. But I think Nigerian government did mention at the time that they have a comprehensive list of those sponsoring terrorism. So President Donald Trump can go after them. I'm sure Nigeria will be very, very happy. The women will jump to the street and drop their apparel for Donald Trump to walk on anytime he does that for us, so that Nigeria can be free again. This is a beautiful country, a free country. I used to travel 12 midnight to any part of the country without fear of anything. Today, I can't even go to my village because some stupid idiots are there with powerful handguns chasing the people. So Donald Trump is more than welcome into this country at any time to wipe out this band of terrorists from our country. But to come in here to effect change of government or democratically, we will resist it. Nigeria must resist it, and we will not allow such things. If you want to help Nigeria, help us to strengthen our institutions. Help us to strengthen our military.
All right, Tony, we will drop the discussion here now because of time. We'll drop the discussion here. I want to say a very big thank you, Tony Alile, for joining us on the program today. And
I cannot continue my trip back to Benin now. Thank you very much.
You are very free. Anyway, most sincerely, thank you. I mean, I have to put a stop on your journey this afternoon for you to return back to Benin. So I wish you a safe journey back home in Jesus' name, okay? All right, so this is where we end the program today, African Discourse on Independent Television. A very big thank you. We've started it again this year, and the very first episode on the program this year. Until same time next week, my name is Evan Sunohugi. Good afternoon.
Thereafter, the priest assigned to the immortal shrine offered Oba Ewai II items for Isoton on behalf of his family. However, chalk